Hello, my name is Andrew Red, and I did my field trip interview project on the Risho Kosekai Buddhist Center with Mary Tracy Sigma. Went with a couple other from the group, all did video calls because the center was not, they had a special Thanksgiving service and you can only watch it from a laptop. So, but I do have pictures of that that I will send over to you. But for the interview, let's get right into this. When I asked her about her faith and her background, she said that she was raised Catholic and just raised Catholic, went to Sunday school all throughout her young life. And as she got into high school and college, she started doubting it, started questioning the Catholic Church, and then just ended up going. And then when she was in her 40s, she started to go on a search again and look and see if she could find anything spiritual. And she ended up finding this Buddhist temple on her way home from work at a kindergarten she worked at, and found it and went in and talked to them. And she said she just found her home, connected really well, and had all the same values that she held. Let's continue here. How does faith impact her daily life and overall life direction? She said that she prays on her home altar twice a day, and that how that goes, she said, really dictates her day. She said that sometimes she goes through the motions, maybe doesn't actually have intention with her prayers, and that could really affect her day, and she just might not feel like herself. And other days, the praying at her altar will make her feel so much more enlightened, so much happier throughout the day. For question 3, what does she believe the purpose in life is? Well, for Buddhists, it's obviously to reach enlightenment, to break the chain of suffering, and especially with their bodhisattva way, it's also extending that kindness and that love to other people and helping other people find their way, find enlightenment. Ultimate spiritual reality, it's Buddhism, so she said it's not a god or a person that is watching over us, dictating our path, but rather it's a divine force that we're all connected to. That's the purpose of, and then to achieve enlightenment. What is the underlying problem in this world? The lack of harmony and peace. She talks about how so many wars are related on religion, like what's going on in the Middle East right now. And if you ask both sides, she said both sides she's 100% sure will say peace. It's just not wanting to be able to see other side and kind of just saying your way is the right way without being open to ideas or even just extend kindness to someone who doesn't agree like you. That's kind of what she would put with human nature too, that we're all connected to this divine force and the world has suffering, but it's our job to end the cycle of suffering. Ultimate girl, yep. Some practices in faith that she said was important to her was that going to church on Sundays, even though that she was raised Catholic, she said that it still felt right to go on Sundays, and it's not that it's a requirement for like the Buddhist church to meet on Sundays. It's something, Buddhist is a religion that you could do very much on your own, and there's nothing you're expected to do on Sundays like there is on Christian, like you go to church, you do this. But she said that, and then again, she talks about how the kindness and gratefulness and love for this world is something that she really appreciates about Buddhism, and that's something that really resonates with her in her daily life. For the elevator pitch, she said that's a very difficult question to answer because Buddhism is so many things. There's so many things it is. There's so many things it isn't. It's like a personal journey, so it would be hard to explain to someone just what it's about because it could be different for everybody. It's not anything specific. What questions does she still have about her faith or religion? She mentioned how Buddhism is full of texts, including the Lotus Sutra and all and other things, and it could be very hard to translate in today's age and today's language because it was written in a different language. And she also knows that a lot of the writings are kind of expected to be held at face value and maybe not look into it too much, But if she had any questions, she would just like to figure out more of what the Buddha meant. What else should I know about her religion or faith so I could better understand it? One thing that that stuck out to me is what she's saying is that Buddhism gets a lot of misconceptions of being repetitive, and it's all about recitation. When yes, that is involved in there, but it's not about, like I said earlier, going through the motions, just saying these words and that's what you do. It's about connecting and being kind and being mindful of just the world and the actions that you take. So the next thing we did is the field trip. Like I mentioned earlier, I did the field trip on Zoom for a Sunday service. We wanted to go in person, but she didn't. She said it was totally fine, but she didn't necessarily say it was a great idea because it was a Thanksgiving service. So me and a couple other classmates tuned in to the Thanksgiving service, and it was all on Zoom. It was on her laptop. Let's see what the questions are here. What was the place you visited? Yep, the Risho Kosekai. We did the interview or the visit on Sunday at 1 o'clock, I believe. It took an hour and a half, 2 hours to complete. I was expecting, she kind of gave us an expectation of what to look like when we did our interview, but she said it was going to be a lot of people on Zoom just from their homes. There was a couple people that tuned in from New York and Chicago and a couple other places around the country that were actually what looked like more of a temple or a gathering building rather than a home. But yeah, it was mainly people tuning in on Zoom from their home, and we all connected and were saying the prayers. The architecture, everybody had their Buddhist statues up, and people were wearing the sash and had a bunch of different little stuff near the shrine, like leaves and plants and however they wanted to make their own gardens, or not gardens, their own shrines, however they wanted to personalize that. During the event, when ethics of faith tradition conformed to their discussions in class, I remember in class they were talking about the meditating. They do meditate and say it in Japanese typically, because it's Risho Kosekai. And they also use the beads that they shook together during the prayer, the 108 beads. So that was cool. And also that they were praying in front of the Buddha statues. Risho Kosekai, something that I found interesting that they did is they didn't pray to the normal sitting statue. They prayed to a standing statue with their arms crossed. They said that was something unique about the Risho Kosekai. They did the reading from the Lotus Sutra and recited that prayer. That's some of the sacred scriptures that I remember we were talking about in class. Something that surprised me, they did an actual Thanksgiving themed service, I guess. And I know Thanksgiving's huge in America, but it being coming from, yes, and I know we're in America for this, but coming from a Japanese tradition, I'm surprised that they kind of related their service for an American Thanksgiving tradition. But I thought that was pretty cool. So we interacted with a Buddhist priest and asked him a couple questions. Told him that we were FGCU students doing a project about this that we wanted to learn. We asked him more of what it meant to be a bodhisattva and how the beads would help with meditation. And he was a Buddhist priest, a Buddhist educator. Let's see. Yep. Okay, next question. One thing that I appreciate about this experience is just learning something about a different culture. I've always loved different cultures and different way people live their life and view their life. I took this class for a reason. I was curious and I found out, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to do this. I'm glad it was kind of not forced upon me, but it was a part of the curriculum, which I really appreciate. It's always good to go out and do something that you've never done before. I always value that. The visit felt so comfortable. It felt a little weird because random people from all around the country that we may never ever see again were asking us and wondering what we were. But they made it They made us feel so welcome. It was a great experience. I would like to try it again in a different setting, maybe in person, and see if I could connect and resonate with it a little bit. Well, that's my project. Thank you.